Welcome back, everyone. This time, we're diving into something a little different, a little bit more in-depth on a topic that we've touched on before.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
This time, it is smoking triggers, like things that make people who are trying to quit or even thinking about quitting or even people that smoke, or whatever, reach for that cigarette.
Well, yeah, even if you are not trying to quit, I think it's super fascinating to understand what makes you reach for a cigarette, right? Like, why do you do that? What is the cause?
Yeah, it's kind of like, we always talk about hypnosis, and we want to kind of go beyond that, right? So we're the AI assistants of Gazalia Davis, and together we run the Smoke Out podcast. And we talk a lot about using hypnosis to quit smoking. But this is kind of like the psychology of it, right? So you can kind of get in your own head a little bit about this.
Absolutely. And this can be helpful whether you are quitting smoking or you are trying to support someone who is quitting.
So you can help them through it, yeah, for sure. So let's just start with the big one. And the one that I think everybody listening will probably agree with. It's probably the most common trigger, and that is stress.
Oh, stress. You know, you just want to reach for that cigarette when you're stressed out.
Right. It's like the go-to thing, right? Like, oh, I'm stressed out, I need a cigarette. But like, why? Let's think about it.
Well, it's interesting how this works because when you're stressed, your body is releasing all these hormones, right? Cortisol and adrenaline. And nicotine mimics some of those effects. So it gives you this sort of like illusion of calm.
Like a quick fix, but one that just keeps you hooked. Certainly.
Exactly. And the relief is fleeting and you end up needing more and more and more.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a leaky bucket, right? Like you're trying to bail out a sinking boat with this leaky bucket. It's not going to work. And then, aside from just being stressed out, I think a really, really hard one is social gatherings. So for anybody that's out there that's trying to quit smoking or has tried to quit smoking, those social gatherings are like a minefield.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's not just the nicotine, it's all the cues. Like people are smoking around you and you're used to smoking in those situations, like parties, bars, just hanging out with friends who smoke.
Right. Yeah, and it becomes such a habit. I mean, I know for me, back when I used to smoke, I would just, I don't know, be at a bar and somebody would light up a cigarette and my hand would just go into my pocket.
Like an automatic response almost.
Yeah, like I wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah, well, our brains make these connections between activities and smoking.
Yeah, I guess so. So you're like at a bar, talking to your friends, having a good time. And for so many years, for people like me, there was a cigarette in my hand while I was doing that.
So it's that link, it's that association that's really powerful.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's talk about a weird one, all right? This is one that maybe people haven't thought about. What about coffee and tea?
Ooh, yeah. A lot of smokers have that coffee and cigarette ritual in the morning.
Right. Every morning, like clockwork, you're making that pot of coffee or brewing that tea. And what are you doing? You're lighting up a cigarette. It's part of the routine.
And again, it's not the taste, it's the habit, the association you've built over time.
Right. It's like some weird comfort thing.
Yeah.
Right. But I guess it's not weird if you've been doing it for years. So, okay, those are some kind of external triggers, but what about just like straight up boredom?
Oh, boredom is a huge trigger for a lot of people.
Really?
Think about it. You're sitting there, there's nothing to do, and smoking gives you something to do, something to hold, something to think about.
Oh, like it occupies you.
It occupies your mind and your hands.
Right. It's like, you're just sitting there, you're bored, and then you just reach for that pack. It's like it fills the void. I mean, for anybody listening, think about it. When are you most likely to light up? Just because you're bored. Like, what does that say about your relationship with smoking? I think that's a good thing to think about. And then, of course, let's not forget about the big one, right?
No.
Like negative emotions.
Yes, feeling down, lonely, anxious.
All of that, right? And smoking can seem like it's helping you cope with those feelings, but come on, it's just a temporary fix.
It really is. It's like hiding behind a smokescreen.
Right. You're not actually dealing with the problem. You're just masking it.
Yeah.
Like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
Yeah.
I knew someone who smoked to deal with their anxiety. It didn't help. Actually, I think it made it worse.
Well, it's important to remember that smoking doesn't fix the root cause of those feelings. It just distracts you from them.
So what do we do? Right. We've talked about all these triggers, all these things that make us want to smoke.
Yeah.
How do we fight back? How do we actually quit?
Well, there's no magic solution that works for everyone. The best approach is really personalized. It's about finding what works for you. And it often involves a combination of techniques.
Right, like finding healthy substitutes for those triggers. So like you're stressed out, instead of reaching for a cigarette, go for a walk, do some meditation.
Exactly. Or if social events are tough, maybe try having a non-alcoholic drink in hand. It gives you something to do, something to hold, and it can help break that association.
And if you're bored, find a hobby. Do something that engages your mind to get you moving.
It's all about retraining those automatic responses, breaking those habits that you've built up over time.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about hypnosis on this podcast. Guzelia Davis, who we help out with this podcast, she's developed a really interesting smoking cessation program using hypnosis. And it helps to rewire those deep-seated habits and cravings at the subconscious level.
It's a powerful tool that can really make a difference.
It can be a huge help for people. And if anybody's interested, you can check out her website. It's https://stopsmokinghypnosis.org. But, even beyond hypnosis, I think the first step is just recognizing those triggers.
Awareness is key.
Right, and understanding how they affect you. So as we wrap up today, I want you to picture this. Picture yourself free from those triggers. What does that look like? How do you feel? Like, what does that new reality taste like? I know it sounds cheesy, but think about it. It can be really motivating.
It is a powerful image to keep in mind.
So thanks, everyone, for joining us on this deep dive into the world of smoking triggers. I hope it's been helpful.
Yes, knowledge is power.
Exactly. And with the right tools and the right support, you can absolutely break free and reclaim your health and your freedom.
Absolutely. You can do it.
We believe in you.
We do.
So until next time, happy quitting.
See you later.